morning, everybody. Good afternoon, rather. I think it has been a little of a late start today, and we're trying to catch up with the lost time. Very happy to be here, as usual. Another RetailCon, 10th year, successful, hopefully. We have a very esteemed panel here, and we are going to talk about analytics today. Before I begin, just want to set the tone correctly for what I'm trying to present today in the panel. I have been happy to either be on the panel or moderate the analytics panel or at RetailCon for the past few years. And we've discussed in the previous sessions of how analytics can help a retailer. We've had a lot of discussion in the previous years of whether analytics is required for a retailer. Is there a minimum size of a retailer's business to really go in for analytics? I'm going to take the thought and the trend forward in today's session. I'm going to stay away from discussing whether analytics is required. I'm going to take it for granted that I think every retailer needs analytics. Of course, to see the value of analytics, to decide whether it makes sense for his business, that is probably a personal evaluation. But moving in the trend forward, I'm trying to get to a point where we discuss or we assume analytics is not a necessity, it's not a luxury, it is a necessity for retailers today. And therefore, what should we do? Today we're going to talk about how do we get into it, what value we can realize, and what are the trends, the new trends coming up in the space of analytics, especially for retail. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for being on my panel. It's a pleasure to have you here. I think in spite of saying that analytics is not a luxury but a necessity, I'm still going to start the session asking our panelists here, how has analytics helped each of them in their respective businesses? So, to keep this session interesting, I'd request you as much as possible to speak about actual case studies from your personal experiences so that the audience can relate better. So, open to the panel, any example of how analytics has helped your respective business. Anybody? If you can quickly introduce yourself before you start, that'll help the audience.
My name is Srinivas Nudurpati. I come from a company called the Mobile Store Private Limited. We are supposedly India's largest retailer for mobile phones. So we just sell mobiles. Most of you might be having it in your pocket. So I head the e-commerce division of this company. We're just discussing about some of the case studies before coming into the panel. There's more than 40 minutes of delay starting to the panel, so we just had a chance to discuss among ourselves. So one most important thing we figured out in our mobile category is, a replacement cycle seems to be about 18 months currently for anybody to change their current phones. We're just trying to understand how can I reduce, replacement cycle of a smartphone from a user perspective, so that I can increase both my top line as well as, without compromising on the bottom line. So that's when we started looking at our analytics tools and trying to understand how to design a process on this particular scenario. So what we figured out was guys who buy an Android phone more than a price point of, let's say, 25,000 rupees, they are the most important, interesting segment for us to pitch in a buyback program at every 6 months of their life cycle. So we started this particular mechanism about, I think, in February of this year. Through various communication channels, we started pitching this program to customers, be it SMS, telemarketing, email marketing, or even through our online communication channels, on our social media platforms, on our own web platform. We figured out we were able to increase our almost by 12%, and our bottom line increased for this particular segment by more than 26%. And our average selling price for normal mobile phones is about 12,000 rupees across the industry. But through this program, we were able to sell more than at around ASP of 28,540 rupees. So this is one major advantage that we got through our business analytics tools over the last 3 to 4 months since we started using them aggressively for the improvement of sales. Yep.
So Srinivas, before I move forward, maybe on this particular point, really good to hear some numbers, because one of the biggest struggles everybody faces is to put or to peg an ROI to your investment in analytics. You interestingly said 12% increase in top line. Let's just take one of these metrics, right? For achieving this 12% increase in top line, the scenario that you painted out seems pretty simple. You probably are looking at sales data, and you're looking at customers related with that sales data. This is simple data that is available in your ERP sources. Was the investment to get this particular analytics out from your data? How much was the investment, and was it justified to get to this 12% increase in top line?
Sure. So even though I said it in a simple way that we just targeted these people, how we reached to that conclusion is involved pretty massive exercise. So we have our CTO at the back there, Mr. Chirantan. They've spent more than 7.5 months to understand what is the right segment to target. Sure. So to get to that 12%, you made us do the similar sort of exercise for about 7.5 months. And yes, of course, ROI is pretty high. But most importantly, the way in which I look at it is, most of us from the retail background, so we depend on our brands to meet our both volume targets as well as value targets. So this particular scheme made us more important to our brands in terms of volume targets, and hence our bargaining power with the brands increased a hell a lot.
Sure.
So from that perspective, I think the ROI is awesome, maybe double than what I would get through, maybe or triple than what I would get the ROI from my ATL campaigns that we do on a regular basis. So it's not either or of them. So it's good to have both of them at the same time.
It's a good combination. Yeah. I'm going to ask the audience to be interactive. So please don't keep your questions for the end. We might just run out of time. If anybody has a question for any of the panelists, please feel free to raise your hand and let's take the questions. This was a very interesting case study pointed out. Does anybody have anything to ask Mr. Srinivas here? Because this is the first time I'm seeing a panelist actually quote numbers. Mr. Chitranjan, I mean, Srinivas mentioned that there was a fair amount of work involved to 7 months of effort to get into realizing the target and getting this analytics work for you, right? I have on personal levels, on business consulting levels, also been telling retailers exactly the same thing, that there is no shortcuts to success, right? Any inputs you have for fellow retailers here? Most of the times we realize that retailers look for quick fix solutions, and the patience tends to bottom out much faster than it takes to actually see results.
Exactly. And I would like to add to that. It's a continuous journey, right? You don't go wrong in this journey, correct? Sometimes it happens that the results may not be exactly what you are looking for. Sometimes it can be very encouraging. Sometimes it can be very surprising, correct? But in fact, we have been in this journey for the last 7 months, as Srini said, and we are continuing on to this journey. Initial part was all about analysis and trying to figure out what is the way out for us. Then it started giving very positive result. And of course, Srini and his team has done amazing job in this area. There are other phases, other transformations or other analytics phases which are planned into this area, and we are continuing to embark onto that. My message to other retailers are there. It's a very exciting world to be in. Do not lose patience. Do not look for a quick solution. It's a journey. Embark onto this. You will be pleasantly surprised. Thank you.
BI is a journey. It's not a destination. It will continue going on. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Somebody else, real life examples of analytics and how it has helped the business. Mr. Rajesh.
I'm Rajesh Sabu. I work for Future Group, and Future Group is into all sort of format, whether it is hypermarket, supermarket, fashion stores. And I think analytics is definitely very, very important, and especially